Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very different looking StattoJoe podcast. For all you listeners, there's no intro or outro this evening. What can I say? Unfortunately, tonight Luke has had to pull out. Good evening, Mikey. He's had to pull out relatively late on in the day. Not anything of his own fault at all. But we do wish him well. So hopefully you'll all be able to send your well wishes to Luke. But I'm going to try and go it alone tonight to see how we get on. The plan tonight, really, regardless if Luke was here or not, we're going to just talk through the quarterfinals of Euro 2020, go through each of the games as we see fit, see what works, see what doesn't. What I think personally of the Euro so far, and we'll just see how it goes. But you're more than welcome tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. I hope that despite me being without my better half, I can still give you a decent enough show, or one that's certainly deserving of what I'm trying to do here. So this weekend of quarterfinal football, it all kicked off with Spain versus Switzerland. Now, I think most people that I know certainly had Spain down to win this game. I think Switzerland had come through against France unexpectedly, of course. Absolutely, I think very few people had Switzerland down to beat France, and that was an unbelievable penalty shootout. That was superb, with Mbappe missing. But we go into that game on Friday. It was on Friday night, between Switzerland and Spain. My screen is frozen. No, it's okay. Sorry, I thought the screen had frozen. If we just go into the lineups very quickly, I want to talk about Spain because Spain have kind of stuck pretty solidly with the team that they've used in the last few games. Azpilicueta started again. Everybody's favourite, I'm Eric Laporte, started. Pau Torres and Jordi Alba. I think it was the same back four from the game against Slovakia, certainly in my head anyway. And again, they've stepped with Simon and nets. Midfield three, Pedri, Busquets, and Koke. And then again with Sarabia, Morata, and Ferran Torres up front. Again, no start there for Gerard Moreno. Surprise to me. I don't think Morata's been very good this tournament. He did get that goal against Croatia, but I don't think he's been great. So that was their team. You know, they had some pretty good players on the bench there. You know, Thiago didn't get on until the 113th minute. That's weird to me. They see Moreno came on there for 54 minutes, rightly so. Luke will be delighted that Adama Traore didn't start or even play. as we all know, he absolutely hates Adama Traore. But, you know, Switzerland themselves, decent enough wee team. You know, Jan Sommer had an unbelievable game once again. He now has that summertime sadness. I think Luke will be proud of that one. Shaqiri getting a goal. You know, Xhaka was suspended, I think, for this game. So he wasn't able to play. But, you know, again, a Switzerland team who came in with a bit of belief, you know. They came in with a bit of belief. You know, they'd beaten France, so they didn't have much to worry about. Well, not much to worry about, but they certainly felt they could do something tonight or on Friday night in that game. Oh, there's Meg. Hello, Meg. How's it going? So let's look at the stats for this one. Overall, Spain were the dominant side, and most of the stats really, like, look at that, 28 shots to Switzerland's 8. I wonder how that breaks down. 3 in the first half for Spain. So Spain had 18 shots in extra time. 18 shots in extra time. They only managed 10 in the 90 minutes, and then they managed 18 in extra time, 11 in the first half of extra time, and 7. Switzerland managed 0 shots in extra time. And it was almost as if in extra time Spain realised they had to go and win the game. Switzerland were going to be very, very happy to sit back and enjoy just the pressure coming in from Spain, because they were a man down. A very controversial red card, in my opinion. I don't think it was deserved at all, But you can see there, Switzerland managed no XG because they managed no shots at all. In fact, they managed nothing. In terms of attacking, they managed nothing in extra time, apart from, nothing. One yellow card. So Spain dominated. In terms of the 90 minutes, if we look at the 90 minutes, Spain had 70% possession in the first half, but Switzerland managed more shots, although none of them were on target. Spain had one big chance, they missed that. Plenty of passing there, 342 passes in the first half alone. In the second half, 67% possession, so 2/3 to a third there, and managing 7 shots. Only 1 on target, which was their goal. Switzerland managed 2 shots on target, but all round, a pretty dominant performance from Spain. They don't look very convincing, though, I will say that. They don't look very convincing. For me, I don't think they look great. I don't think they've looked great all competition, to be perfectly honest. I don't think they've been very good at all. We look at what's happened there. So, sorry, I just don't remember. Spain were the away team. So, it was an own goal. Was it an own goal? I can't remember. Yeah, it was an own goal, of course, because it was a Jordi Alba deflection in the first half for Spain. So they scored after 8 minutes. And then in the second half, Shaqiri got a goal in the 68th minute. Switzerland got a red card in the 77th minute. Were forced to play the last 40 minutes of the game with 10 men. Managed to hold on. As for the penalty shootout, quite possibly one of the worst penalty shootouts I've ever seen. Some of the penalties were shocking. Busquets missed first, then Switzerland scored through Gavranovic, then Dani Olmo scored, then Fabian Schär missed, Rodri missed, Akanji missed, then Moreno scored, Vargas missed, and Oyarzabal, that's a horrendous pronunciation, he scored as well. But it was an awful set of penalties all round. Mikey says, can't see the Spanish getting past Italy. I have to agree with that, to be honest, mate. Scored a few, but the scores have been flattering. They scored 10 goals in 2 of their games in a row. They scored 5 against Slovakia in that 5-0 win. They then scored 5 against Croatia and a 5-3 win that went to extra time. They haven't come up properly yet against that next level, against that Italy or England team yet. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on Friday night. No, it's not Friday night. It's Tuesday night. Sorry, I'm getting my days mixed up. I'm totally lost. Look, guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm totally lost. So that was the first game. They scraped through. Switzerland, to be fair to them, they've done really well to get as far as they have. Jan Sommer there. Let me just quickly look at his statistics for the game. 9.4, 10 saves in a single game. That's mad. That includes one penalty from the penalty shootout. Pardon me. We have some excellent stats there from Jan Sommer, who, as I said earlier, he has that summertime sadness. We then move on to the marquee game of the 4. This was the biggest game of the 4 games in the quarterfinals. Belgium, Italy, fantastic game. Really great game, very frantic. Well, the first 75 minutes, probably one of the best games of the tournament. And then kind of the last 15, let's call it gamesmanship for Italy, will we? A bit of amateur dramatics. A lot of rolling about in the ground. They did that a lot of the game as well. Certainly in the lead up to their goal, their first goal, I think it was. Mobley he was lying on the ground, he was rolling about in the ground, and miraculously got up after the goal. But let's look how the teams lined up. So again, Belgium went with this kind of back 3 with Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, and Thomas Vermaelen. That is not a strong defence. This European Championship, that is not a strong defence. With the standard midfield 4, we had Thomas Meunier, Tielemans, Witsel, and Thorgan Hazard. Then they started Doku, which Andy had mentioned him last week when we were talking about it. He had mentioned Doku as a potential player to watch out for. Who decent rating there, one of the highest ratings in the team. De Bruyne and Lukaku. Italy, I don't think there was any surprises really with their lineup. Donnarumma and nets, of course, a back 4 of Di Lorenzo, Bonucci, Chiellini, and Spinazzola, who unfortunately I think he broke his cruciate. Am I right in saying that? Or his Achilles tendon, actually? No, I think it's Achilles tendon, actually. Barella, Jorginho and Ferrari in the midfield. And then Chiesa, Immobile and Insigne up front. So really, uh, two pretty expected 11s coming into this game. How did they line up statistically? Well, overall, fairly tight actually. Belgium actually had a higher XG of 1.83. Italy had a 1.73. Possession was fairly even overall. 54% for Italy to Belgium's 46, with 14 shots going Italy's way, with only 3 on target, which isn't great. And me and Luke would talk often about how you need to have a high shot on target rate to shots. Belgium managed 4 of 10, 40% is not bad. Let's see what you're saying in the comments. Mikey, magical how he recovered when the goal went in. So true. Ben, it's coming home. I think you could be right. We'll talk about that a bit later on, about how England are certainly, in my eyes, one of the favourites going into these last couple of games. I forgot to put this on. Forgot to put on the ticker. I don't even know her. Silly man. As I said before, if you are new, be sure to like, subscribe, give the Facebook page a like if you haven't already. Do it for Luke. Poor Luke. Hopefully he'll come through. But anyway, as I was saying, that game was fantastic on Friday night. A really great game between Belgium and Italy. Fairly even. I keep saying evening. I mean even. Italy kind of dominated a lot of the ball at times. Played some really quick attacking football. I think in general the game was quite quick. Some pretty fast football in there. Really enjoyable stuff. But if we look at the details of the match and how it kind of went down, so we had an early goal from Italy that was cancelled due to offside, and then Barella scored first on the 31st minute, and then Insigne scored in the 44th minute with his trademark cut inside and shoot. And we spoke about that last week, about how often he's done that. He does that all the time. He cuts inside and he shoots. And I think he scored one of those already, or he certainly came close. But whenever, it looks really impressive when he does it. But when I was watching it, I was going, you've done that about, I don't know, 8 or 9 times at least this tournament. Class goal, to be fair to him, great finish. But, at the end of the day, it's not exactly... if you're gonna eventually get it if you keep trying it and keep trying it and keep trying it, and it baffles me that defenders don't pick this out. Right, this is one of his trademarks. Why do you show him inside? Show him the line. It's easier to deal with a cross in the box than it is to deal with one of those shots. I thought it was kind of silly that they were showing him the inside line, and it was a great goal. And then at the very, very end of the half, Lukaku scored a penalty, a bit of a dubious penalty. I think it was a penalty. Once it was given, it was never going to be overturned. But it was one of those things, it was just either way. So if it hadn't been given and went to VAR, I don't think it would have been given. But it was given. I don't think VAR have enough to overturn it. And then the second half, really it was a case of Italy's defence being kind of too good, and then they were trying to run the game down, really, which they did successfully. A lot of injuries, although a very, very, very serious injury to Spinazzola, that could be a massive blow going into the semi-final and the final. Gave him a proper shot, an amazing run and sublime strike. It certainly was. But I think the point more is that he's done that. He's done that a lot, and it hasn't gone well. Do you know what I mean? Just don't let him cut inside. Would be my kind of point of view on that. And he gave him a proper shove. I think it was soft though. Certainly a soft penalty to concede, from my point of view, for Italy, and it kind of allowed. It kind of gave Belgium that hope going into the second half. And Spinazzola, one of the players of the tournament, as Mikey says there, it's such a shame, massive shame. He really has been. He's been one of Italy's outstanding performers. So Italy will play Spain on Friday night. No, Tuesday night. I keep saying Friday. Tuesday night. Then on Saturday, the first game we had Czech Republic, Denmark. If only Luke was here to gush about Denmark's performance. The Danes have pulled through. The Danes are one of those teams. This is England are playing a team again who have lost 2 games in the tournament. Ukraine had lost 2 already. Pardon me. Denmark, they have lost 2 already. They lost to Finland, obviously, in Belgium. But the Great Danes, they scored very, very early. They scored within the first 5 minutes. And I was thinking this could be a rout. They scored again in the 42nd minute. Kasper Dolberg with a goal. 2-0 at half time. Denmark are sitting pretty. They're sitting really pretty. But the Czech Republic made 2 subs at half time. And they went at Denmark straight away. Didn't give them a second to think. And they scored very, 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 very early on. Patrick Schick scoring once again. This is his 5th goal of the tournament. I feel like it is. I feel like it's one of the top goal scorers of the tournament. It was looking hairy, but then Denmark were able to hold on. Just on that point about Spinazzola, there's Mikey saying that if you're an England or Spain fan, you're divided these out, and I totally agree with that. You absolutely would be. If we look in the match stats for Saturday's early game, Czech Republic actually held more of the ball and at a higher XG count, again, very slightly, very slight. 16 shots, Denmark's 11, but only 5 shots on target. Denmark managed 7. Big chances. There's Denmark had 2, they only missed one of them. They both had 1 big chance and they both missed 1. But overall, not great passing accuracy from either team. Czech Republic 80%, which isn't good enough, really, in my opinion. Denmark was 76%, which is even worse. But what's massive is this Denmark team are being carried through with this, who they're playing for. They're really playing for Christian Eriksen. Obviously, with the cardiac arrest he suffered, they're really pulling through for him. Getting to a semi-final. We actually called it. Me and Luke said they'd reach a semi-final. And I've said time and time again, this Denmark team, not a team to be laughed at. I think they could cause England serious problems on Wednesday night. The Czechs deserve to take an extra time. I also think they did as well. I thought they played very well in that second half, Mikey. They were very attacking. Denmark looked a little bit lost at times, and they just they ran them ragged at stages. But I think it was that early goal that really the first half, there was that early goal that changed the entire game. And it was the same in the England game, which we'll get onto very, very shortly here. But, the Czechs put in a very spirited performance, probably performed a lot better than people thought they would. Certainly getting to a quarterfinal was a lot more than I think people thought Czech Republic would do. But Denmark have proven people wrong and proven people right at the same time. I said I was very firm 4 weeks ago, whenever it was now, that this Denmark team are far better than people are giving them credit for. And they've got a really great squad. But, I suppose there's a combination of the factor of playing for Eriksen and all that going on. I just don't know with this Wembley crowd if it's going to be enough. I really don't. I think England are going to be really carried by this home crowd, which is going to be an interesting thing to talk about once we've gone through these games. The final game of the night, there's not much to say, to be honest. England just brutalised Ukraine, absolutely destroyed them. There's a combination of things we can talk about, really, in terms of team selection. We look at the England lineup. Southgate, again, changed his team a wee bit. Pickford and nets, standard. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, John Stones, Kyle Walker went for a back 4 this time, with, again, the much-used Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips in the defensive midfield. He then played a midfield 3 of Sterling, Mason Mount, and Jadon Sancho, and then Harry Kane up front. Harry Kane, with his faith in the faith in the manager put into him, getting those 2 goals, a goal for Harry Maguire and a goal for Jordan Henderson. But this game was always going to be one-sided, really, because Ukraine went through against a poor Sweden team, scored very, very late on in that game. The 120th minute, like it was the added time of extra time that they scored. Um, and England had beaten Germany; they were coming off that high, and I did think there was a potential banana skin there, but Ukraine were vintage 2016. They just were very, very poor overall. I think England played very well. England at times looked a bit shaky at the back, but when you're 4-0 up, you can almost forgive that because their minds are going to be elsewhere. How are you going to stay motivated when you're 4-0 up? Even on both sides, Ukraine would have been very, very difficult when you're 4-0 down. Not great, really. First half they got the goal, but Ukraine won't let them some sloppy England play. But second half they were different class. I think England were sloppy even in the second half as well, Mikey. And I think they could almost afford to be. It was one of those things like they could almost afford to be, just in the way that it worked out. I think England look really, really solid. I think Pickford, he made one mistake yesterday, but I think Pickford's had a great tournament. And I think that certainly that John Stones Harry Maguire partnership is, if not the best defensive partnership in the Euros, second only to Chiellini and Bonucci. I think they've been fantastic, and I don't think Harry Maguire gets anywhere near the levels of praise he deserves. Because people focus on his mistakes far more than what he does brilliantly. Sancho looked good when he was on, in my opinion. Sterling with a great assist for Kane. And Luke Shaw got 2 assists in 3 minutes or something mad. Didn't play Grealish. Didn't think that was a bad thing either. I think it worked. They won 4-0. You don't need to play Grealish. And as you pointed out there, Mikey, Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips in the defensive midfield have been excellent as well. And I listened to some really interesting analysis where they were talking about what Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice have been doing very well is not getting in the centre back's way. So whenever you play a CDM, it can be very difficult for the CDM to not get in the way of their centre backs because they're maybe sticking tighter to their centre backs or thinking more defensively. But what Phillips and Declan Rice have done very, very well this tournament, and Henderson did as well when he came on, is that they actually leave enough room in between those centre backs and the midfield. But what they also do very well is if Harry Maguire pushes forward with the ball, which he's very good at doing at times, one of them will cover in. So one of them will sweep round. So Harry Maguire presses forward, Declan Rice or Calvin Phillips, they'll come in and cover around while he's up, and then they'll swap again. Excellent play. Really, 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 really well regimented, this England team. And they're very, very, very together as well. Southgate's got this team playing for each other. Harry Kane we saw as well, actually. Harry Kane played a lot he played a lot more of a Spurs role. He didn't focus on staying up top. He actually was given the freedom to play down in midfield. I saw him at times coming down, and Declan Rice, Maggie covering. I think England I don't think we have seen England play at 100%, but I think we've seen them play at 85, 90. I think there's just a couple of mistakes that they've made from time to time. But for me, because the games are at Wembley, for me, England are the favourites going into these semi-final and final. And that's not me writing off Denmark, Spain or Italy either, because I do think Denmark could surprise people. I do. They gave Belgium a real good game. And I think for me, I think a lot of English fans might overlook Denmark. But I think you'd be silly to. I think you would, because I think this is a potential banana skin. Now, yes, there's going to be is there 60,000 people at Wembley? I don't know how many there are. It's either 40,000 or 60,000. It's one of the two for the semi-finals. That Wembley is going to be packed of England fans. It's going to be like a home game. England should get to the final. They should get to the final, and if they don't, I think it will be disappointing. Honestly, after the way they played against Germany, and we didn't do a podcast after those games. Um, but that game against Germany for me was a tactical masterclass from Southgate. I personally feel that you can start. You don't have to start Grealish. I actually think Grealish works better for England coming off the bench. Let's say it's 0-0 in the Germany game as it was after 60 minutes. You bring Grealish on, he changed the game. Those German defenders didn't have a clue what was going on. And ultimately, that's what won them the game. People were saying, should have started Grealish, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he has the same impact if he starts. I just think it's good management. And I think Southgate has a rapport with the players where they know their roles. You know, Henderson maybe knows that he'll come on with 40 minutes to go like he did last night. Or, you know, Sterling knows he'll play. I think Sterling has to play now, to be honest, because he scored 3 and assisted a couple. But he might come off after 65 minutes now. But I think they know their roles. I also think Luke Shaw has to start. I don't think you can start Chilwell anymore. I think Luke Shaw's been phenomenal. I think he's been superb for them. But we go into the semi-finals now. Italy play Spain on Tuesday night. Now all the games are at Wembley, so all the last 3 games are at Wembley. For me, Italy should beat Spain, no problem. Not no problem, but I say no problem. That was probably a bit rash of me there, but Italy should be beating Spain. You know, this Spain team have looked very, very laboured. They've played 5. All the teams have played 5 games. They're still left. Okay, we've all played five games. Spain have drawn in 90 minutes. Spain have drawn 4 of them. So they've in the 90 minutes they drew against Sweden and Poland. They then beat Slovakia. They then drew with Croatia and then went on to win an extra time. And they drew with Switzerland and went on to win in penalties. So just look out for that. Spain have only won 1 game in at normal time, which I think is really, really interesting. Obviously it doesn't matter, but I just think that's something to be aware of. As for Italy, very comfortable group stage for them. 9 points, I think. They then had a bit of a slip up against Austria. They went through an extra time, and then obviously they beat Belgium, which was a massive win. Belgium were one of the tournament favourites. Italy, through, in my opinion, sheer work rate, won that game. Then the other game, England-Denmark, I think it's going to be really, really interesting because Denmark have nothing to lose. Denmark can almost be very free because they're at a point they should really, no one expected them to get to, apart from me and Luke very cheekily had them in the semi-final, and they're going to Wembley where they don't really have any expectations on them. England have the world sitting on their shoulders. This is probably their best opportunity to win the Euros, like hands down anyway, because the next 2 games are at Wembley, but they're playing against a team they'd be expected to beat pretty much every time they play them. They have their home crowd behind them. There's a lot of pressure on that England team. There really is. And they come in having not conceded a single goal in the tournament, which is, I think it's only the 2nd time it's been done at a major tournament ever, which is just crazy. Denmark have absolutely no pressure on them at all. England have so much, says Mikey, and the hype is now astronomical. The hype is astronomical. It absolutely is. There's no getting around that at all. But I think that's because, and rightly so, people really do think England could win, and I think they could win as well. But I also wouldn't be surprised because England that they bottle it. So I think we're going to see an England-Italy final, personally, on Sunday. And then I think, I don't know. I think I don't even know who wins that game. That's going to be really tight. That's going to be a 1-0, if even, could go to penalties. Imagine a Euros final one on penalties. Oh, grim. But that's going to do me tonight because it's just me. I want to be able to speak at work tomorrow. I'll chat to Luke and see what the plan is. I ideally would like to go live immediately after the semi-finals on Wednesday night. But I'll see how Luke's feeling, if he's up for going then. And then probably immediately after the final then, I'll be live probably immediately after the final to have a chat through. And then the final thing, I'll do an update video at some stage, but basically I need a break from all this stuff. Once the Euros finish, I want to be taking I think I want to take a 4-week break, to be honest. I found it really, really difficult to know what to do with the podcast or the page, and it's becoming to a point where I don't have the same enjoyment for it as I used to, and I think I need to take a step back from it for a bit, kind of take a rest, and then when the Premier League season starts, we're going to go straight into it. And I think we'll go back to just one podcast a week, unless there's some really major news in the midweek, and we'll go for an impromptu live. But I just want to let you guys know that for me, I personally need a break from the podcast for a while. We've done this is my 19th episode now, in about 8 weeks or something, 8 or 9 weeks, and I'm kind of running out of ideas, and I'm struggling to know how to get posts that reach people and all that kind of thing, and I kind of need to sit down and work that out. And I'm going to take the summer off. I'm going to take the summer off after the Euros. Take the break. No posts on the page or anything really. I've been really enjoying the interaction that the Instagram stories have been getting with the polls and things. But yeah, I just need a break for a bit. Take a step back from it for a while. While there's no football on, and I know the Lions are on, but while the football's on, I just feel like, with the no football being on, I just feel like I don't want to be making nothing content. I want to be producing stuff that you guys enjoy and that I enjoy as well. The plan really is that whenever we start up again properly in August, there's going to be a massive relaunch. So it's going to be season 2 of the podcast, and what we'll be doing is we'll be doing live shows every Sunday night, I think, or we'll see when works best, and then I'll be producing clips from those streams to go up on the YouTube channel. I'm really going to focus on YouTube, so I think after the Euros we're not going to be streaming on Facebook anymore. We're just going to be streaming on YouTube, and we'll be producing clips from the streams that will come up as highlight videos, and they'll go on the Facebook page then. So the highlight and will go up on YouTube too. But basically, we're just going to be highlight videos that you guys can watch and enjoy. Then it means that if you miss kind of a part of it, then you can get a wee highlight. But also, I really want to try and get people onto the audio version, because it hasn't been taken up the way that I would have loved or hoped or dreamed. And I really want to get the audio kind of pushed. But I'm going to look up how to kind of do that. Sorry for the ramble. I'm just kind of getting out there so you guys know what's going on with the page. So what's crack with the Fantasy League? What does the winner get? The winner gets to say they won the StattoJoe Fantasy League. I don't have anything sorted for winning. You get the bragging rights, Peter. I haven't even checked the Fantasy League because I messed it up massively. I forgot to change my team, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore. But Harry Kane and Lukaku are in there, and they scored 3 goals this weekend, so not all bad. But yeah, I'm going to focus on the YouTube. We're still trying to push for those 100 subscribers, which has been something I've been trying to do since I started. But hopefully we'll get there. But I'm gonna head off. I don't know if I'm going to put this up as a podcast, to be perfectly honest. But it's a video there for you guys to enjoy anyway, if you want to watch back. If you do want to help me out, the best way to help me out, honestly, is sharing. Even on your story, even a tweet, even anything like that. That's the best way to help me get pushed out to new people. If you're wondering how you can help out, or even if you want to help out the podcast, that kind of thing. That's kind of the best way to help out. But yeah, apologies, it was just me tonight. Nothing that could be done there, unfortunately. Hopefully, it was informative. Hopefully, it was enjoyable. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Wednesday night, I'll have a chat to Luke and see what happens. But enjoy the last week of the Euros. It's kind of crazy that we're already at the last week. I kind of can't believe we're already at this stage of the tournament. It's bad. And look after yourselves, guys. Stay safe. All that good stuff. And yeah, see you soon.